They're saying that it should go up to about £15,000. How would you felt about
I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't be able to go.
I don't think I'll ever pay off my student loan. I don't think I ever will. If it's 15 grand, you're definitely never paying that off.
It is a big concern because it's pretty much a student tax instead of a debt because it goes up with inflation.
Mental load of that. You're talking 45,000 on just your tuition fees, never mind the maintenance fees to actually live.
Coming from maybe not the best background, it's hard enough to go to uni as it is.
That's probably a reason why they're raising fees as well, to try and make it more for the elites again.
So the body representing UK universities has said they want to or need to up tuition fees. What do you make of that?
I was actually watching this on TikTok on the way up to London today, and they wanted about 3-4 grand extra.
It's disgusting. I'm sorry, it's so bad.
Of course, I'm a home student, so I just finished my bachelor's degree, so 9,250 every year.
I find in our university it's hard enough to access. Like, I think us as the nursing department really don't see much of the budget, so it's just bad enough that it's going on students. I think also, like, coming from maybe not the best background, it's hard enough to go to uni as it is, and if you don't have a lot of backing behind you, like not everyone has maybe parents' money to support them, like it's just going to make it harder. University's already expensive, like seems they're making it more difficult.
When my older siblings went, it was 3 grand, which was, they've paid off their student loans now. I don't think I'll ever pay off my student loan. I don't think I ever will. I think it's ridiculous. It's that they keep increasing it.
The initial preconception of paying 15,000 a year for a course, like, I think that puts it out of reach for lots of people. Some people maybe choose to pay a bit of themselves or even get a loan for it. But then also the mental load of that. You're talking 45,000 on just your tuition fees, never mind the maintenance fees to actually live. And I think you're looking at 70, 80,000 for just an undergraduate degree, which can really put people off and restrict lots of people from getting education at different institutions around the country.
You're 18 and you decided not to go to uni because of how expensive it is. Yeah.
Tell us about that. Tell us about the decision not to go to university.
I was basically just like, I don't want the debt when I can get paid and get the same qualification. That was the logic. I was like, okay, yeah, the life experience might be a plus, but like, I'm gonna be ahead if I don't go.
And the
so
experience you get working in a
experience
company.
is more valuable. Like loads of people getting degrees now, so it's like a degree isn't as valuable anymore. It's about the experience. So I was like, I need to get that to stand out if I want to actually go far.
Do you think if you had to pay 15 grand per year, it would have changed how you felt about going to university?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think I probably wouldn't have gone to university. I would have sought if there was other courses or something I can do, because that's just, it's a lot. I mean, I even considered it when it was 9 grand, because I even had like my siblings go, oh no, it's a lot of money, I only paid 3 grand. And I get it, it's a loan, but you never pay it off really. But if it's 15 grand, you're definitely never paying that off. And it's just like, for some people it's a debt that's in the back of the mind all the time. So yeah, no, absolutely not.
I mean, one of the reasons I chose London is I get to stay at home, I live just a bit further out, and I can just commute in, save a lot of money on other fees. I don't have to take up as much other student finance. So it is a big concern because it's pretty much a student tax instead of a debt because it goes up with inflation, and inflation keeps rising, it's never going to go down. So realistically, unless you're earning huge amounts, you're not going to pay off your student debt until the band that I was in is about 40 or 45, they just clear it. So it is a big concern. I know a lot of people that are just choosing to do degree apprenticeships, just going straight into work, doing trade.
You guys were saying that you are studying mental health nursing. Do you worry that a tuition increase would put people off studying mental health nursing?
So the benefits of studying mental health is we get what's called a learning support fund, which is funded by the NHS. So there are incentives to study. Not all subjects have that incentive, so they might be pushing certain people out of specific subject areas.
One of the things that I've heard is that a lot of the sectors, like the NHS, pay for their medical students to go through it. However, when you're talking with the banking sector, law sector, these don't pay anything, any fees, any subsidiary to the universities, whereas these are pretty much the biggest winners of the university system. So you could argue that they should have to pay their fair share of what they get out of the university system, and they don't pay anything at the moment. So I think changing tuition fees, which they're going to have to do if they start now, just keep doing it incrementally, isn't going to actually fix the core problem. It's just going to push it back.
Compare it to other European countries like Germany, where tuition fees are free and are significantly lower for international students as well, and they're still able to do it. If we follow a similar model to that, then I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And it will encourage more people to go to university.
I think they obviously need to figure out how they can fill the deficit. Ever since, Brexit, there's been a significant decrease in international students coming in, which is why they're citing these budget deficits. There's simply a lack of international students to offset the fees for home fee students, which is how it's worked for many years. I think you need to consider realistic situations, and people may not be so keen on tax increases to fund universities when, living at the moment is quite tough for lots of people, and taxing them more is also quite a difficult choice. There's no good option at the moment. Yeah, it's just the unpopular opinion to raise taxes or a government loan, but unless you choose them to go more private and have a different system like in the States where they're privatized and not so much funded by the state, I think it's going to be a lot difficult to get that funding and people there.
I mean, the burden on the taxpayer is continually going up. It's one of the highest in the modern era. So, like I said, I think it's interesting to look at different routes of financial income, because a lot of the stress at the moment is on international students. They have to pay 22.5 grand somewhere around that region. And that's where a lot of the money is coming from. And then there was talk last year limiting the amount of students coming internationally, which seems just a bit stupid in that sense if they're the people carrying the entire system on their backs. So we're going to have to look otherwhere else, because the university can't just keep taking money from the taxpayer, because they're going to keep needing more money. It has to go from somewhere else, in my opinion.
One of the reasons they've said that universities are struggling for money is because they've seen a decrease in international students. Why do you think that international students might be choosing not to study in the UK?
Well, what comes to my mind is the cost of the visa and the difficulty to get the visa, which is like £800, I think. Then you also have to pay for medical insurance, which is 2k, I think. And then getting to the UK is not as easy as it used to be, especially for the EU students, because you don't have free movements of people as it used to be. But I think that the tuition fees for international students are way too high. I remember that in first year I was paying 22k per year for King's. Then second year it went up to 24k, and then third year it went up to 26k. And so arguably this is according to the inflation, but I do not get to really understand where the money goes, because I didn't see any really significant improvements in the university during my bachelor.